Okay, so I'm going to try to make this quick because I'm losing light. But I felt like making a video today because it's actually been a fairly good day considering what I've recently been dealing with. No one bothered me today. I got to park up in a peaceful place for a while. The cats got to stretch their legs. I spent most of the day just cleaning the RV because it really needed it. And I got to give myself a sponge bath. Which is as close to a real bath as I can get in here. Because the shower nozzle hasn't been working for months. It just kind of does a drizzle, like a little drizzle downpour you have to get under. It doesn't spray. And trying to preserve gas, trying to preserve money, try not to run the generator too much, which means I can't really use the water pump, and something's up with the fresh water tank anyway. So what it looks like when I'm getting a bath in here is me heating up water in my tea kettle on the propane stove and then pouring it into a giant mixing bowl in the sink and sponging myself off right behind me in the kitchen on a towel and mats. And like just scrubbing as much as I can to get the layers of dead skin off. And those are once in a while. I think the last time I managed to be able to sponge myself off was almost a month ago. And between then and today, it's been baby white baths. So I'm feeling clean and fresh. And we've got food for a little while at least, some water, cat food. So, at least it's a pretty good day. My back hasn't been bothering me too much. It's actually almost completely recovered from the last blowout. It hasn't been feeling like really bad for a while. It was just kind of achy today. But who knows when it'll happen again. So, yeah, I'm just gonna try to make a video real quick before I lose anyone. So, what should I talk about? I think for this one, I'm actually going to veer off of the topic of, my recounting some of my past and relationships and such. And I'm going to tackle something that this is going to be for the cult. This is going to be explaining a part of their belief system. Or, well, it's accurate even without being part of their belief system. I think their belief system is based very much on how things actually work. Science, physics, how light works. And they factor those things into their belief system. But it's sort of like picking out the formulas in existence. So, for example, the Fibonacci sequence is a pattern we see in existence. It's built into just about everything. It's in your body. It's built into the relationship of the length of your fingers in relationship to one another, the length of your limbs in relationship to your torso. It's built into the way pine cones and flowers grow, the way fetuses grow. The Fibonacci sequence is basically in all of physical existence. It's a pattern, a natural pattern that pops up if you notice it. So the point I'm making is that you can take a formula like that and you can interpret it, the meaning of it, in a few different ways. So just because they are factoring facts about how existence works into their belief system doesn't mean they're interpreting it correctly. And I'll probably be repeating that in a few different ways in the future. Because I'll be giving you examples of how I've already picked out certain interpretations that they seem to have in their belief system of certain natural formulas and patterns in existence, and I think that their interpretations come from a sickness that they have. And you don't have to see it through that lens. You don't have to interpret it that way. There are much nicer interpretations. Like, there are much less extreme ways of realizing certain patterns. Maybe I should say that to make it more accurate. There are healthier ways of manifesting natural patterns and impulses and behaviors, for example. And then there are unhealthy ways. So I'll get into that more. So real quick, let's just, knock this out. And it's going to be a short little, kind of like a tutorial or a little, what would you call it? Not a workshop, but like a little crash course. There we go. Like a little crash course in the duality of the genders. I worked this out myself. This is the stuff I think about. And I'll be explaining all this to you. I might make this video in better light at some point soon. Oh, you know what? Let's do... Oh, yeah. I almost forgot. My screen often darkens without my noticing. And I can break. So here we go. So you have the typical yin-yang here. And I'm trying to figure out kind of maybe a better symbol for this. Okay, so we'll start off with the top. The yin and yang, probably everybody's seen this. It's a symbol from the Far East. This is meant to symbolize the duality of life, and quite often is broken up into the two genders. So typically the black represents female, black, dark, night, shadow, passive receptive energies, negative energies, cold, secrets, so on and so forth. The white side, I'm going to have to get used to this. It's like looking at the screen and moving on. Typically represents males. Ew, there we go. This is how it's just taught, and this is how it's known. Males in the yin-yang represent white, day, light, more aggressive, positive energies. I forgot to black. You go over pen and over positive. Heat, assertiveness, openness. They're more brash, so on and so forth. This is not really an accurate depiction of the duality of the two genders. This is not accurate at all, actually. So, again, if you step back and just observe how nature works and how existence works, you will come to this eventually. But I'll jump you ahead to the realization. This is not an accurate representation of the duality of the genders. What's a more accurate representation would be this, the bottom. Women are actually both. They're light and dark, day and night. They have to be, because they have to represent balance and equilibrium. Males are one exaggerated aspect of females. They're just white, light, but they don't have the black. So, if you can see down here, you can see the scales. This is the true duality that creates life, and this is the true duality that's represented by the genders. Women are balance and equilibrium. Males are inertia and chaos. In order to be balanced and equilibrium, women have to have both. You can see this in our genitalia. We represent it in our genitalia. So women have ovaries, men have testes. Women have a clitoris, men have a phallus, women have a uterus. Men don't match us there. So we have more than they do. If we were meant to just be an opposite of they are, an opposite of them, then we would just have a womb and an opening. We wouldn't have the clitoris. So we're not meant to be just the opposite of males. We're meant to actually be more than males. They're an exaggerated, extreme piece of us. So again, we're both, we represent both, and they only represent an exaggerated part of us. So it's like if the white like kind of took over the black, that would be a male, would be all white, like going cray cray, and no balance, and just extreme inertia and chaos. And so the two forces acting against each other, or dancing with each other, however you want to see it. I believe that this cult might see it as like, they're having sex with each other. A lot of it seems to date back to, or be traced. I've been tracing a lot of it back to, ancient tantric sex rituals and belief systems and stuff, and that goes back thousands of years to ancient Sanskrit and stuff. And so obviously Tantra deals with a lot of sexual rituals. So they see it as the two are having sex with each other, essentially, the two forces. So the force of balance and equilibrium, which is represented by females. And you can see this in our physical bodies too. We're more of a balanced shape. We're more hourglass. That's a balanced shape. Males are a bit more of an extreme exaggerated shape. They have typically big bulky shoulders, and then they get slimmer as you go down. So maybe it would be more accurate to turn this triangle upside down. I don't know. We'll see. But this also represents like the male genitalia, the upward pointing triangle, at least down here on this side of the mirrored veil. The upward pointing triangle represents the phallus and the male and the man. And the downward pointing triangle represents the female. So yeah, well, it might not be accurate to say death, because too much balance and equilibrium can equal death too. Too much of either of these can equal death. So it might not be accurate to just label one with death. I'll have to get used to this more. Yeah. So too much balance and equilibrium without the little Loki, like the little outlier weirdo that shakes stuff up a bit. Without that, variety will die. Life will die. So that's death. But too much inertia and chaos. Too much chaos is also death. There's no structure there. There's no boundaries. There's no meaningfulness, no chance for meaningfulness. It's just everything running around like a chicken with its head cut off. So these two dancing with each other, I guess, playing with each other, chasing each other around, I don't know. These are the two forces that actually create life. In this way, men and women are a duality, but not in this way. They are not meant to be opposites, really, in any other way than they create this duality. Otherwise, women are actually more than men. Men are sort of an exaggerated aspect of us. You can see this in nature. You can see this, for example, just in how fetuses develop, male fetuses specifically. And I'll be repeating this information about the fetus because it relates, it connects to other things, other facts I need to go over. So, and I think this is important information to know. Most dudes don't know how they developed in their mother, and I think they probably are too scared to find out. So if you're a guy, guess what? You started off as a girl. Every human fetus starts off at least looking like a girl. If you consider a male to be male only because it has a Y chromosome, which only males have Y chromosomes, well then you could get some males that look very much like girls. Here's why. So in order for a male, so like I said, women have ovaries, men have testes, women have a clitoris, men have a phallus. Men started off with ovaries and a clitoris. In order to get the testes and the phallus, what had to happen was eventually the Y chromosome that they inherited from their fathers had to be strong enough to cause the fetus to build up enough androgen testosterone, male hormone, to push back against its mother's estrogen, which is the female hormone. The mother's estrogen is trying very, very hard to keep the fetus a female, because it's almost like it treats the male as if it's like a cancer almost. Like, no, we want you to be a female. Stay a female, stay a female. So if the Y chromosome isn't strong enough to push back against the mother's estrogen, then she's going to end up giving birth to either a bunch of girls or a bunch of very effeminate-looking boys. Because they won't develop. So once the androgen kicks in and increases, then the fetus pushes back against the estrogen, its mother's estrogen. Then the ovaries begin to descend into testes, and the clitoris begins to elongate into a phallus. That's how we get males. They start off as basically, essentially females. So in that way, you can see how female, the gender, is sort of the default starting gender. And then once in a while, about half the time, it will morph into a male. And it's really just an exaggerated aspect of a female. So every male is sort of the more exaggerated aspect of their female version. They lost this part, and this just got big and extreme. So again, they represent inertia and chaos, like power, boom, 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 go, go, go. And women represent balance and equilibrium. And like, you can think of it, so I think of it sometimes as like they're not having sex, they're not dancing. What they're doing is, it's a little boy running around and making a mess. He's just tearing up the whole house. And the mom's going, no, I just cleaned it, please. So that's how I think of it. This sort of dance, struggle, playtime between balance and equilibrium and chaos and inertia is a mother desperately trying to settle her little boy down, her crazy, like, super rambunctious little boy down, who's just running around the house, tearing shit up. And she just cleaned, and company's coming over or something. She's just, like, so exhausted already. No, please, settle. But, yeah. Anyway, so I'm gonna end it here because I'm losing light really fast. But yeah, this is an important part to explaining the belief system that I think these people have. And I think it's just important for people to understand in general. This is not actually accurate. Males and females are not opposites of one another. Not exactly. Except for in this way. The duality between balance and equilibrium and inertia and chaos. So women are the balanced scale and the males come along and tip it. And then the females are trying desperately to rebalance. And this can, so I'll give you an example of how this can be interpreted right now. I'll give you an example of how this could be interpreted in a healthy manner and how this could be interpreted in an unhealthy manner. So a more psychologically severe, troubled male who maybe hates his mother and has a lot of hatred, resentment towards women in general, he might see this as he's supposed to go around and basically torture women, like hurt them in all kinds of ways, psychologically mess with them, emotionally mess with them. Sorry, my screen keeps going dark. He might see that as an excuse, for example, to just, well, I'm supposed to go around and cause chaos, and they're just supposed to clean up after me. I like to see it more like, in order to create life, the male and the female have to come together, husband, wife, and they make a baby. Females are typically more balanced than males. And I think that, like, just in general, when you see, like, a girl like a teenage girl and teenage boy. Teenage girls are like just way more on top of their shit in terms of just they're organized, they're clean. Males are just like teen boys. You know it. You know most of them are just living in filth. They just smell like corn chips. It's gross. Balance. So the girls are more balanced and the males are more extreme. So when they get together, let's say they get married, and what does he do? He puts a baby in her. Baby comes out. That's gonna, like, right there, putting the baby, her, as soon as she starts growing a baby in her, her equilibrium and balance, gone. Thrown off for years now. Because, ladies, you all know this to be true. Once that baby gets put in the oven, say goodbye to your sleep, your good hygiene, all of it. It's going right out the effing window, right? And it's like, thanks, dude. Thanks a lot. Thanks for sticking your little chaos maker up inside me. Thanks. So I think that's the healthier, more natural way of looking at it. It doesn't have to be they're put here to hurt us, make us miserable, make our lives awful, like torture us, make our lives torturous. I think if you're sick, you'll see it that way, and you'll use this as an excuse to hurt women. I think, there are ways women can use this to be obnoxious to men. Like, they might claim, like, for example, I know that I've been tempted by this sometimes. That, what do we need them for? Let's just round them all up into cages, stick shock collars on them. We'll only let them out for breeding purposes. Which is wrong. You can't do that. But, when you're joking with yourself sometimes. Because you're pissed at a dude. No, we definitely need this aspect. I mean, not as extreme as they sometimes manifest it. We definitely need the inertia and a little bit of the chaos. A little bit. It's like, you're never going to survive unless you get a little crazy. It's the Loki. It's the outlier. It's the weird little... it's a little weirdo that, doesn't conform. And so it keeps life going with variety. It doesn't give into the cookie cutter existence that this could become if it's taken to its extreme. So these can be dangerous, both of them, in their extreme forms. In their own way, they have to be balanced, actually. This, which is kind of like, it's against its nature, actually, to be balanced. But if it's too crazy, if this gets too out of hand, and this one doesn't kick in and, chill it out, we'll also have problems, We can't have too much of either. So, yeah. I hope you learned something. Like I said, here's the true duality that forms life and more accurately describes the genders. Yeah. So, yeah. Do you see how there's, can be layers of dualities? So on one level, we're women are black and men are white. But on another level, we're not. It's actually a bit more like this. But this also creates its own duality. See, so unless you can think kind of in these ways, in these kind of creative branching off kind of ways, where you take a problem or a concept or an idea and you turn it around, I see it sort of as it's a diamond, a multifaceted diamond in my head, that I'm turning around and I'm looking at it from all these different aspects and angles and viewpoints to try to fully understand a concept or problem. So this is how you get to realizations like this. I'm sorry, it's just so dark. All right, I'm going to, because the light isn't kicking in. I mean, it is a bit. So this is the kind of stuff I think about all the time. And this is one of the things that led me to, so the fact that I think about this sort of stuff all the time is one of the things that really led me to discovering this cult, noticing them, really. I just noticed them. They're operating right out in open public. It's just they're using code and such that most people don't know. So it's going right over your heads. Anyway, yeah, there's next to no light. So I'm going to end this. And till the next video, hope you enjoyed this. Bye.